Greetings, everyone. My name is Mpotsilo from KHD Radio News, and I am one of the field reporters. And with me here, I have Dr. Nolitando, who is our marketing director and PR at KHD Radio. Of course, behind the camera, I must give a shout out to our intern, who is also in charge of technical staff, Tando. And yes, with us here, we are having an interview with the president of the ANC Youth League. He doesn't need any introduction. Again, that they call him Malatjie. And with us as well, we have that Oluvuyo Once, who is also the NEC member of the ANC Youth League. But that, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to KHD Radio.
Thank you for the invite.
Yeah. So yeah, perhaps this is the first time that you hear of us, KHD Radio. We are an online media platform and we are based in Johannesburg South, but we do a lot of work around the Vaal and Johannesburg, but the entire Gauteng basically. But the intention is to just have a national footprint, but because we are online, it's easy. We do have some international listeners and stuff, but it is our intention to just one day go to Parliament and cover things there. But yeah, this is where we are now. We are based in Gauteng. So yeah, we just came from covering an event by the Premier, Panyaza Sufi. It was an opening of a school here in the Vaal. He was accompanied by MEC Chilwan of Education and stuff. Yeah, but I wanted to find out from you that the president, what is there anything, or perhaps maybe this is not your constituency, with young people, there's been a problem of this, and we raised it with the MEC, of this online registration thing. We have been traveling to schools, the past 2 days, we've been traveling to various schools, and we have Abogogo who are raising grandchildren, and they don't know anything about this online thing. And the worst thing is that a child who's doing grade R must still register for the same school that they will be going to grade 1 to. So is there something that, is there anything that is done, or is the ANC maybe looking into that and intervening in whatever form? Mr Malatjie.
I think let's start with the grade R one. The online system, there's no problem with it. It's a system that must be encouraged, especially in a metropolitan area like Gauteng. It must be easy for online programs to work because almost everyone has got a gadget on their phone. But we need to have areas of automatic entrances. For example, now that we've introduced childhood development inside schools, which is grade R, which is now compulsory. Now every primary school now is forced to have a grade R program in it. Now it must be automatic for them to go to grade 1 unless someone takes a remover that I want to go to another school. But I think those who have been grade R there, those are few cliches that the program must resolve. It doesn't mean it's a failed project. It means that we must be able to modify it to accommodate everyone. When it started by Panyaza, when he was MEC of Education years ago, it was a good program. Look, we tried everything. Not only that, we also introduced smart classrooms and many other programs that were meant to bring access to the youth. Because we're in an era of AI now, you can't have our youth behind. Even if you've got infrastructure problems, but you can't say because of infrastructure problems, they must be behind. You must find a way of incorporating them, of course, in the process of resolving other problems. But I think it's a good program. We must make sure that it accommodates everyone. There must be field workers that goes to areas where there's older people to assist them to register online. I think it's a new opportunity to create jobs for the youth. Now you need to be, as much as we've got assistant teachers in classrooms, during registration time was what we call field workers who go to verify everywhere using our data on where there's old people who can utilize technology, who are raising grandkids. How are they assisted?
Oh no, I love that there must be an intervention because we should not discourage progress, but that progress must come with that intervention that you speak about. I'm glad that you're saying that. And then now moving on to this, almost on the same topic before we move on to ANC Youth League. As I was saying, we have been rotating for the past 2 days, including today again, in various schools, and you find that the schools are denying people because that we have a case of a child who needs to go to varsity and to register for varsity, but because they owe a book from last year, like when we get cases like that, who do we go to? Do we call the ANC thing or do we call COSAS? Because also I've always had that not that confusion as to is it COSAS constituency or is it ANC thing, or at this time everyone just does the work. That answers.
Not of thanks, but first maybe to indicate that no school is allowed to deny any learner their report card,
Yes.
regardless of whether the parents owe school fees or for whatever reason that they may be. COSAS would exist in the space in terms of high schools, but COSAS would be a narrow political organization that deals specifically with learners in basic education. But the ANC Youth League would, of course, also exist where you would find young people. So you would always find the Youth League, but in that space specifically, you would tap into a branch of COSAS. But where one does not exist, you are always able to find a local branch of the Youth League or any actors of the Youth League to then help you to deal with that. But I must reiterate, President, that there is no school that by law is allowed to deny any child their report card.
No, thank you. Yeah,
Just there, before you move on
Yes,
to the
yes,
next
good.
topic, I just wanted to ask Mr. President, now that we then know that the grannies and the elderly, and maybe most of the young people that are not yet learned enough to be, we are of course the fourth industrial revolution, but I do know of young people that are even struggling to utilize the very same registration process. Now that there are a lot of kids that are still not placed, I would want to know what is the position of the ANC Youth League, especially in your capacity, because I think today when I mentioned your name, a lot of things cleared for me personally. Now, is there anything from your side that is making sure that at least students are on time?
There's two problems we're not discussing. The first problem we're not discussing the issue of Gauteng as a province, because a lot of every year there's migrant workers who are coming to Gauteng for better opportunities, because there is no economic corridors elsewhere or economic activities that can take as many people as possible. I can make an example. You'll find that there are schools in rural areas that are getting closed because there's no learners. Where there's infrastructure put in place, they're getting closed because there's no learners, because everyone is migrating towards Gauteng. But the state taxpayers' money has been invested to build schools for those areas.
Okay.
Because of the calculated population. But every year, kids are moving with their parents where there's opportunities. That's another problem we're faced with. That's why in January, you'll find that there's a flock of people coming to Gauteng looking for kids to spaces on last-minute spaces. Even the system like online, that they give you an opportunity from early September or June to apply for your kids for the other year. Some parents get their jobs in November. Others get the opportunity from the uncle who's visited. You don't know areas. There's some uncle who works in a construction. When you come back from the village, come back with 10 people. They can't leave their kids behind. They move with them.
They move with them. Yeah.
That's why we have a problem of informal settlements. We have a problem of bulk water. We have many problems in Gauteng on infrastructure development, or the weight on the infrastructure, or there's a health system. All of these things are caused by. That's why the Youth League have made an important point that we need to create economic corridors everywhere in the country, so no one has to move. If you go to areas like China, Russia, developed countries, every province has got an activity. There are people who have never been to Beijing, for example, in China. Who are in China? They've not been there. There's no need for them to go there, because in their province where they are, there are opportunities, there's economic activities. Now, that is what we're fighting for. What we call economic corridors. Must skill people in their own areas to respond to the economic demands of their own areas, because every economy must be responsive to their own economic demands. It's only in South Africa and many African countries where a person has studied law. If law is no longer relevant, they're not prepared to do plumbing. Because in developed countries, people move
Yes.
with what is relevant at that time.
Yeah.
And the skills show us that plumbers make more money than doctors and lawyers on consultation.
Of course.
But because of apartheid stereotype, apartheid taught us that it's dirty jobs.
You are a boy.
Cheap labor, you are a boy, you're oppressed. Then the white Afrikaners went and did that skill. Then they forced you into skills that they know you won't make money out of them. If you want a plumber, 80% chances, if it's not a Mozambican that comes to fix your plumbing or infrastructure, it's going to be an Afrikaner man. Those are all going to come and resolve the problem.
Yeah.
Now, to answer your question, yes, everyone must be placed. It's their right. But you need to give a system a week at least. Because there's no way that people arrive yesterday, others arrive Tuesday, it will be placed with that influx.
Of course.
I mean, infrastructure-wise, we're not ready. Because that's why we're introducing this theme of temporary classrooms. Because in reality is that to build a school, you won't do it over a week.
That's very
Of course.
And it's a truth that people are not talking about. There's no way government can build schools a week. And some schools you go to, other kids are sharing a table that they're not supposed to be sharing. I'm from 2 schools today to show the level of inequalities in this country. I went to Widumelong Secondary School.
Okay.
The kids were sharing a desk. The one can't write, must make space for the other because there's overcrowding.
They won.
Then I went to Val High.
Okay.
Every child has got their own desk. The teacher can move in the classroom. You expect the same school to achieve the same 100% pass rate.
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Now, this level of inequality is a problem. Because also the ANC has created many settlements. Where there were informal settlements, they were able to create settlements. With Dumeling, if you can check pre-94, you might find that it was not existing. It's a product of ANC intervention. Because they built RDP houses.
Yes.
Now, when they built RDP houses, they had to build a primary. From a primary to build a high school. Then, when there's this migration I'm speaking about, others don't go to informal settlement, they go to their cousins and sisters who stay in those built RDPs.
They start enrolling themselves.
It's a crisis. Many can't afford transport to go to towns to go and study. Now, with the new laws that they must prefer kids who are staying closer to school, makes it even worse. Because it's only those around, privileged kids around the area of the schools who get to access Val High. Even if Val High has got the capacity. But they've said that this year they've had to take in 100,000 more.
Oh,
Not
wow.
100
That's a
more.
different
100,000.
case.
Okay.
Let me correct it.
Yeah.
Because the school was 1,400. Now they're moving to 1,500.
Which is an improvement. I remember even last year, when we were
Yes.
trying to help the kids. I think Val High has always tried to
Yeah.
at least.
We have a very good principal there,
Yes,
who's very progressive. He's able to do all of those things. But I'm just trying to show you the problem. The country is a moving target. While people are moving to Gauteng, schools in Limpopo are empty, Mpumalanga, Eastern Cape.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Now, the same infrastructure, same money, same treasury, others are closed down, they're empty now, they're wild elephant. There's a demand in
There's
another
a demand in another space.
Yeah, no, I like that because Nati, as we were moving around the schools, there was that will, from schools. There was we didn't get any resistance in terms of asking. They are trying, like everyone is trying within the limited resources. And even just speaking about building a school, the schools that we just launched today, the construction started in 2018 before COVID and everything, and only now that it's being officially launched. No, I agree. But now moving on to the Malatjie, this one is on you. The national chairperson, I think I will be doing justice if I don't mention this. So the national chairperson of the African National Congress says something that a lot of people have found to be very problematic, which almost insinuates that the reason young people are not employed today is because they are lazy. I just wanted to find out. I know that you've released a statement, Tizeni. Is that the problem? Today we are sitting with the highest unemployment rate in terms of there are young people who are now 30 who has never in their lives had any form of employment. Would you say that characterization is correct? Are we having unemployed young people today because they're lazy?
Look, it's an apartheid way of thinking. Um, there's no way that the reason why people used to. Okay, let's just give you the historical context of what he said and put it to our response.
Sure.
He says in the statement, he never said they're lazy per se.
Yeah.
He says in the statement that when he moved from Kala, where he's from, and went to the mines to look for a job, and he got a job. And the other people are not doing that, they're waiting for government
To come
to, in summary, saying they're lazy.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's almost insinuating. Yeah.
Now, we know how the structures were planned of mines. Let's analyze mines. Let's analyze him as a person. In the past, mines used to recruit from Lesotho and the Eastern Cape because of cheap labor. But they used to believe that people of other areas were not interested in mining. If you can analyze in the past, they were doing farming. And if you can check the history of mines, it was all from Lesotho and people from the Eastern were dominating the work in mines. And I don't think he's telling the truth. I think he was recruited into a mine by his uncle, whoever. That's how there was no advance to go to the mines. And I think that is it's a point of privilege if you are not addressed that way. That's why we're addressed as a youth league. And requested them to apologize. The youth of today are applying everywhere. They're applying, even those who got degrees, they're even applying to cleaners because of the high level of unemployment in this country, which we gave solutions to him as a leader of the ANC on how to resolve it, especially in the sector of mining. We spoke about the issues of export quotas. We spoke about the issues of energy security because we went and engaged stakeholders. We're not just speaking. We went and engaged mine owners and said that for us to beneficiate here, what must happen? They told us that no, they want to benefit themselves. They agree with the youth league resolutions. But the problem is the energy cost in the country is too high. To run a smelter in this country is more expensive than anywhere else. That's why they prefer to export their raw materials outside the country so that they are able to do it at a cheaper rate and bring back a secondary and tertiary products. Then we engage the president, we engage the minister of energy. They agreed. If you can see the circular now of how they're managing the issue of the energy security in mines to benefit the beneficiation, is a response to what the MP has been saying. Now, if you beneficiate here and put the export quota percentage and say 7% of raw materials, critical minerals especially, must not leave this country, we are bound to revive all factories in South Africa. When you revive all factories, the value chain changes. It means that those will be working in the factories, that those will be running businesses outside. Now, it means that you are able to cut your unemployment in more than half. In this country, only one sector that the minister of mineral, who's a national chair, belongs to. Now, I think that is lazy thinking. I don't think anyone must ever raise that. At least the ANC agrees with us that he must apologize on the matter because it's in the high level of we've called upon the president of the country to declare unemployment a disaster in South Africa. How must we say it's a disaster when people are lazy? When I say people are lazy, it means that jobs are available. They're just waiting for government to fetch them from home. Not true. Yeah, but I felt that I was clarified that fact that that is not the view of the movement. I think he knows it was a wrong statement. Whether he was quoted how, but even from the building up of the statement, it was saying that the youth of this country are lazy.
Okay, no, I think I just love what you just explained. I'm sure that our viewers there, you're getting a lot of answers, and this is very educational. I just need to say something because I'm a woman, say with your permission. The whole female representative in the ANC Youth League is the transformation of agenda literally being absorbed or what is happening because I, for one, I still believe that women are still not in the power that they should assume. So is there any promise on our side as women, especially in the ANC Youth League, for us to, resume power?
Look, our structure is the most representative structure. Even our constitution will not allow us to elect more males than females. Instead, our constitution says we must elect more females than males because where is an odd number, if it's 15, they say elect a female more than a male. Now, the ANC is way ahead. I don't know other political parties. I'm saying the Youth League and the ANC on those areas were way ahead. But we've also put disability in our Youth League structure. We've got a blind person living with us not just say living with the disability. Because if you say living, it doesn't sound right. For a disability, we've got a person from royal background, royal families, a controlesa. We've got an Afrikaner to address our non-racial character of the ANC because we're an organization for all. Now, if you go straight to our provinces, you'll find the same representation. Now, women are in leadership. You go to the Secretariat of the Youth League. The SG of the Youth League is a woman. Yes. The first Secretary General is a woman. The second Secretary General is a woman.
So are you saying there's balance? Because I'm asking this
it is balance. I want to emphasize that point that
the treasurer is also
no, it's a male.
It's a male.
Okay. It's an SG, the first Secretary General, the second Secretary. Now the whole engine of the Youth League is run by women. Now we're advancing towards a very progressive stage.
No, that's beautiful.
And we hope in the future maybe one day we'll have a female president of the NCP.
I was just about to ask that actually. That's where I was going.
We've once had a female president of COSAS.
Yes.
When I left as a president of COSAS, a person who succeeded me was a woman, the late Sandra Baloyi. The person who succeeded her was a woman again, the first TSG, Zamakanyaza. Now, the movement we were trying to put that thing, and ultimately will arrive where we want us to go. We'll ultimately, it's in our interest that we have faces of organizations. And I can see even in the GNU, when they saw the GNU leadership, the photo was a photo of only males sitting.
Oh yes, that was
created a big
that was terrible.
Those things must change because anyway, women and youth are majority in South Africa. Now, there must be a reflection of everything in this country.
On that note, are you saying, are we ready as a country to have a president of a woman in your own?
No, we've always been ready.
We've always been ready.
We've always been ready, but remember the ANC is a democratic organization.
Okay.
We don't appoint leaders, they get elected. Now, structures will elect when the time is right for their own leaders. But women have been ready since the walk to the Union Building.
Yes.
In the 50s. They've been ready since then. There's not been a time where they're not ready. It's just that sometimes because of patriarchy, men tend to dominate because of advantages that they have. You know, women are delayed by pregnancy sometimes, are delayed by they're not sitting in night meetings, you know, where decisions are taken because most of the time they're at home. Because the husband wants them at home when other men are taking decisions on their behalf elsewhere. Those are things that must change on urgent basis.
I think when you say that, something now comes to mind to say, now I saw that there'll be an introduction of menstrual leave. Don't you think it will make a contradiction because already the maternity leave itself is quite, in most companies, is quite hectic when you are working, when you come back, you are replaced and all that. Now with this new menstrual leave, of which I believe women are at liberty to have such, do you think that will be endorsed? Is it possible, and is it something that is going to be beneficial for women?
Yeah, it is going to be beneficial for women, but it's going to be a fight with those that are running the economy because when you run a business, in business term, you need a labor force all the time. For them to adjust will take them long, but you need to accept. Women go to menstruation every month for a certain period, whether it's 7 days, 3 days for echo. Others take it different. Others is a medical.
It's even 10.
It's 10. It's painful. Now it's a medical matter. Men don't go there. Now women fall pregnant for 9 months. Men don't fall pregnant. Now nature favors men and oppresses women. Now you need to put policies in place that protect women. As much as we will defend triple BE, as much as we will defend affirmative action because it protects the former disadvantaged. To address the injustice of the past. The same thing must happen is that women must always have, if a man is a 2 stands for a man, a woman must have 3, 4
At least.
up as an advantage because of natural issues and also the triple oppressions that the women are faced with on a day-to-day basis.
No, I'm glad that you've addressed that. We've been struggling here in the Val to get leaders who are going to speak to that position. I'm glad that it's actually your position as the youth league, because I'm sure you appreciate the controversies behind it. People think that maybe it's a populist suggestion, but I'm glad that you are characterizing it the way you are. Is that your position now, which as the ANC Youth League, you are going to be throwing your weight behind a female presidential candidate, or maybe I'm being too ambitious?
I think you're trying to corner me into specific ones. I think the answer that was given is
was
the
well
true
said.
reflection.
Yeah. Branches would.
I think the question
I was
itself
trying
is
my luck, of
problematic.
course.
Yeah,
The
the
question
question
of whether women
Yeah.
are ready,
Mm.
or are we going to
Yeah.
get a woman president or so forth.
Mm.
I think it is correct that women have been ready.
Always been ready. I love
I think our history is littered with examples of strong women who've led our movement and the country for decades, who've delivered us into this democratic dispensation.
Okay.
And I think also we have a responsibility as patriots and as active citizens that even when we craft these conversations, we are careful ourselves not to reinforce these patriarchal concepts that lead to the oppression of women. So in the movement that I and President belonged to, we elect various comrades and people based on their capacity. Of course, in the Youth League, we're lucky that we have a good crop of leaders that we've elected, and which then reflects into, when you look at the top 6, 3 males and 3 females. That is not because those comrades are elected because they're women. They're elected because
They've
they
got
have
capacity
to lead our organization at the highest level. So I think to answer you, women, I'll reinforce the point that women have been ready.
Of course.
And I think the movement will take a decision to elect whichever leader that they prefer. So let's pause.
I think it's time on its own. This one.
No, but I know, I'm glad we were pushing our luck here. But I know that one day we will find an ANC Youth League leader or any ANC leader who will just like give us the scoop, on that one. But today we've got very senior leaders who know this game. But we have seen the ANC Youth League in recent times, and we've seen you speaking against the ANC leaders, like recently you spoke publicly against the national chairperson and other things that the ANC is doing wrong. We find the voice of young people, and that is something that we have not been seeing a lot in recent times, and we feel like now it's coming, and I've never seen anyone who criticizes that. We welcome that, because you are characterizing issues the way we are, and that makes us to resonate with you. But then there's been that thing that, I think we are having that ANC Youth League of the Malemas and everything. Is it an offensive comparison to you when that is being done? Or is it something that you are welcoming as?
Look, leaders are always compared. I'm sure even when I leave, when my term ends, a new president will compare to me or somebody else. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't think offense, whether positive or negative. Generations always compete on how they led and their style of leadership. I think as a generation we've done our part. We did have an NGC where the conferences are peaceful. We try to unite structure. It's not perfect. Now we're reaching an era of building strong structures, preparing for elections, but we'll ultimately build a strong organization that will build a strong ANC. That's our objective. I think all of us, we were obsessed about building a strong ANC because the ANC remains the mother board, and we all belong to the ANC. Our objective, all of us, is to build strong youth and prepare them, as Peter is called, to be better leaders of the ANC in the country. That is where we are obsessed about.
No, thank you. This is the last one from my side.
Yes.
With the universities opening very soon, Are the ANC Youth League structures ready at the universities to welcome young people and to assist them with various things? When you are a varsity student and you are coming from a background, whether you are from the Val or from Ekasi and everything, you need that someone who's going to help you through the process. Are the ANC structures ready to welcome abantwana to universities?
Well, thanks. I think on that, the youth league structures are ready and already on campuses across the country. Of course, assisting SASCO, which is a component of the Progressive Youth Alliance, as we've always said and how we've experienced universities and others. SASCO is your first friend on campus, so the youth league is there with SASCO to assist with registration. Any frustration you get, we understand that it can be difficult when you're moving from a different province and you arrive at VUT, for an example. You don't know simple things. Where do you get airtime, or where are certain offices? SASCO is there if you have a frustration of registration, late applications and things like that. So SASCO and the youth league are there on campuses to assist all prospective students and returning students, just to make the process more seamless, and were found on every single campus across the country.
I must say, I commend the leadership now of the ANC Youth League. I think the reason why we pushed to make sure that we have this sitting with you is because we are aware of every move that you make, every word that resonates and that speaks to us as young people. Lastly, now, what will you say to our viewers? We're still online and we are on point and we are relevant. How ready are we for the elections? And what are you hoping on this coming elections?
We are ready for elections. We're still preparing our structures to be readier. We were hoping for the youth of this country to go out in numbers to vote for the African National Congress. With all these challenges, we've set up our cleaning campaigns and service delivery campaigns. The youth league will be everywhere to hold all our teams accountable. And we're pushing for not less than 70% of councillors to be young people, and mayors and municipal managers and everyone else. And we want everyone in all the streets of the country to be our watchdogs. You have got a page of the youth league where you see corruption and lack of service delivery, report that, so that we become the voice of the voiceless. The role of the youth league is become your voice where you can speak. Where there's a sewer problem, where there's an energy problem, write to the youth league so that the youth league is able to respond. And we promise that if we got to those complaints everywhere.
But I don't know if you heard that Dr. Nurutando says that they are the home of the voiceless. I think it's almost read our tagline there. Yes. I don't know, maybe he's applying for a job with us. No, but thank you. But yeah, that was a good one. Thank you so much for gentlemen. I must state that we only spoke to you today and you immediately availed yourselves. And that talks to the character of leadership that we are having, people who are accessible to speaking to, not only the media, because you're not speaking to us, you're speaking to the people on the ground who are following us, who are listening to us. So yeah, thank you so much. It's big points for us for that. And I'm sure that the next time you are in the Val or you are in Johannesburg South, side of Orange Fountains and Sebokeng and everything, you will pay us a visit. Okay. We will stop everything the same way that. And shout out to the Emerald Hotel for agreeing for us to use their venue. But I'm saying we will also do the same thing. If it means that whatever time that is there, we'll stop everything and try to put you in so that you can speak to our people. Thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing, gentlemen. And we are hoping that, let's all become civics.
Thank you for that.
Thank you.